JanBask training. Learn and grow.
Hello everyone, this is Ish Kapila from JanBask Training and I am very glad to present you a very informative video on the topic Useful Git Commands for Developers to be Revealed. So let's begin with the learning objective of this session. Okay, so the topics that we will be covering today is what is SCM, that is source code management, why do we need SCM, types of SCM or VCS, SCM tools and Git useful commands. Okay, so first let's move on with the topic, that is what is SCM. So an SCM is also called as a source code management. So it's a software tool used by programmers to manage the source codes. SCMs are used to give version or revision to the program. Each version is given a timestamp and includes the persons responsible for the change. Even various versions can be compared and merged with other versions. This is why SCM is also referred to as version control, revision control or source control. So for example, if you have a file, say by the name, let me say it's ishkapila.doc. Today you have this file and suppose after 2 days you save another file by the name ishkapila1.doc. So this is a second version of the same file, and similarly after 3 days if you save a file by the name ishkapila3.doc, so this is the third version of the same file. So this is the same way how Git works. It creates every time you update a file, it creates a new version of the existing file and also retain the old versions. Okay, so this is what we call as SCM. Now let's come to the topic that why do we need SCM. So the basics of source code management is that whether you are writing a simple application or a collaboration on a large software development, source control is a vital component of the software development lifecycle. It allows you to track your code changes and also check the revision history of the code, which is used when you need to roll back the changes. So with source code management, you can collaborate with your team or isolate your code and make changes without hampering the changes made by your teammates until the code is ready. So even the troubleshooting becomes easy as you know you may make the changes and what are those changes. And now coming back to the topics that we have in front of us, that what are the actual needs of SCM. So the first one I'll tell you is backup and restore. That is, files can be saved at any moment and can be restored from the last saved version. Then synchronization. Programmers can get the latest code and fetch the up-to-date codes from the repository. Short-term undo. It means working with a file, and if you mess it up, we can do a short-term undo to the latest known version. Long-term undo. It helps when we have to make a release version rollback, something like going to the last version which was created say an year ago. Track changes. We can track the changes as when anyone is making any change, we can leave a commit message as for why the change was done. Ownership. With every commit made to the master branch, it will ask the owner permission to merge it. And then finally, branching and merging. You can create a branch of your source code and create the changes. Once the changes are approved, you can merge it with the master branch. Okay, so now the next topic is what are the different types of SCM. So we basically have two types of SCM, that is the centralized version control and the distributed version control. Let me explain the difference between both. The main concept of centralized version control is that it works in a client and server relationship. The repository is located at one place. For example, say this is a repository and it is located at one place, and then the access is allowed by different clients at the same time. Whereas in the distributed version control system, each user has their own copy of the entire repository as well as the files and history. So no one is directly working on the repository here as in the case of centralized version control system. Everyone creates a local copy of its own, works on it, and then merges it back to a final repository. So this is a much improved version of the SCM. Now let me tell you some of the competitors or the source code management tools we have in the market. So the most favorite of mine is the Git one, and the other competitors available in the market are SVN, Mercurial, CVS, Monotone, and TFS. So these are some of the source code management tools available in the market. Okay, now finally let's come to the useful Git commands which every developer should know. So to start with, we have these commands. Let me explain you each one of them one by one. So for example, the first command is a git init command. Now git init command is used to initialize your git in your local directory. So let me help you with the command syntax. So for example, if you're in a local directory, say by the name ish, you can initiate your git repository by the command git init, and then you can give your repo name here. So this will initiate your git in the directory. The next command is git config. Now you may think that how you can link your local repository to your GitHub account. So GitHub is a global repository available where all the people can upload their code and they can make it as a private or public. So public repository, you can see the code and the files of every developer online, whereas the private repository is used within the organization itself. So git config is one of the command where we can enter the credentials, where we can link our local repo to a GitHub account. So for example, if you want to configure your user name and email of your git repository, so you'll do it by git config global user dot name, and then your name will go here, and the second one will be git config global user dot email, and then your email ID will go here. So these are the actual credentials by which you have created your GitHub account. So only those name and email IDs you will configure here. So when you will, in the later stage, we'll see that when you try to push something on the repo, it will ask for these details before connecting to the GitHub repository. Okay. So coming to the next command, we have git clone. So by using this, you can clone any existing repository available in the GitHub account. While cloning, you can copy all the files and contents of those repo on your local working directory. So the syntax for it will be these are very simple commands, so it's very easy to learn, and you can work in a flow once you practice them. So it's a simple command, just git clone and the URL of the repo that you want to clone to your local directory. And the next command we have is git add. Okay, so suppose you have created a new file and you want to your final step is to add it in your repository. So before that, you first have to add that file in a staging area, right? I'll tell you what is a staging area, but before that, okay, let me tell you. In Git, we have three types of environments. Like the first will be your working directory, that is your local directory in which you are working. Then you have a staging area, so you can say that this is a temporary area where your files will be placed before they are actually committed, and your final stage will be your repo. So your file reaches in your repo once it is uploaded, once you have uploaded that in a repo, right? So currently you have a file in your local directory and you want to add it in your staging area, so you'll simply do git add and your file name. So this will add a single file, and suppose you have multiple files, so you can do git add star and it will add your files to the staging area. So it means these are the files on which you have worked upon and you are willing to add those in your repository. Okay, and now Yeah, exactly. The next question comes to your mind is how we can confirm that these files have been added to the staging area or not. So the command is git status. You just need to type git status and it will show you that which of the files are in the staging area and which are still in your working directory and have not been added to the staging area. Okay, so the next command is git commit. So the use of git commit is that it permanently add files to your git version history. It means it will move your files from the staging area to the committed stage. So the command is git commit -m, that stands for the message, and okay, so it's git commit and -m is a message. So means the git commit command will basically commit the files, and -m message will, so this is a user understandable message because once you do a git commit, it commits a commit id, and there are several commit ids. The commit id is a very long number, so from that number you can't understand what changes were made in this particular commit. So this human readable message is entered by the developer, so you can understand that what actually happened in this commit, what files were added or what changes were made. So this -m message is helpful in understanding what exactly the commit contains. Then we have a git diff command. Okay, so now the question arises that how to find the changes that were made in a file since the last commit, right? So for example, you have a file name A and you committed that file and then you made a lot of changes and you went to some work and you came back and you wanted to know what are the changes that have been made since the last commit. So you can do a git diff command, that is a checking for the difference. So this will show all the changes that were made since the last commit, and it is also useful to find the difference between two branches. So you can, for example, you have a branch 1 and branch 2, so it will show a difference between two branches. And now we have a git reset command. Okay, so this command is okay, if you see, we use the command git add file name to add a file from the working directory to the staging area. And now suppose you want to move a file back from a staging area to working directory. You thought of removing some file, or you thought of making more changes to that file, so you can always do a git reset and then the file name, like this is on the file. So this will bring the file from staging area back to your working directory. Okay, so guys, I hope everything is clear up to this point. These are simple commands, and I hope my description or my examples are clear to you in helping these commands. So let's move on to the next commands. Okay, the next command we have are git rm, git log, git show, git tag, git branch, git checkout, merge, and remove. Let me explain to you one by one. So suppose we have a file in a staging area as well as in a local repository, and we want to move that file in a single command from the staging area as well as from the local directory. So we'll use the git rm minus forcibly, f minus f stands for forcibly, and then the file name. So suppose my file a.txt was in the staging area and I finally have to remove it, and so rather than moving it from the staging area back to the working directory and then removing it, I'll simply use the command git rm minus f and then the file name. So it will remove my file from the local and the staging area as well. The next command we have as git log. Okay, so suppose you have a lot of commits made during the day and you wanted to see the history of all the commits that you have made. So you can simply use the command as git log. This will show you the history of all the commits along with their commit IDs for the changes that have been done till now on this particular branch. Then we have git show. Suppose you have multiple commits and you want to see the history of a particular commit ID, that what that commit ID contains, what was changed during that commit ID. So you can do a git show and then the commit id. And if you remember, we already have a message to understand what happened, and this will show you further details of that commit, what it contains, what files were changed, and the timestamp, etc. So now we have git tag. So suppose there are multiple tags in a branch and you want to see the detail of all the tags. So you can log in to that branch and you can run the git tag command. It will show you all the tags, and if you want to further see the details of any particular tag, you can do a git show and then the tag id. So this will show you the details of any particular tag in a branch. Okay, so the next command is git branch. Okay, so if you want to list all the branches in your repo, you can use a simple command, that is git branch. It will list all the branches. And suppose you want to create a branch, so for that purpose also you can use this command. You can use git branch and then your new branch name. The first command will list all the branches and the second command will create a branch with this particular branch name. Okay, simple commands, right? The next one is git checkout. Okay, so git checkout is used to switch from one branch to another branch. So for example, you are in a master branch and you want to go to another branch, that is branch 1. So sitting in the master branch, you just have to write this command, git checkout and then your branch name. So using this command, sitting in the master, you can switch to the another branch, that is for example branch 1. Okay, then we have git merge. So suppose now you're sitting in a master branch and you have another branch by the name branch 1 and you want to merge the changes of branch 1 in your master branch. So while sitting in master branch, you will use the command git merge and then the branch name, branch 1. So sitting in the master, you run this command, it will merge the changes of your branch 1 to the master. Okay, the next command we have is git remote. So now if you remember, in the git config we gave the credentials of a remote branch, but we didn't mention the URL of the remote branch. Okay, so now using this git remote command, we can mention the URL of our repository, for example on GitHub, where we will finally be uploading our contents. So the use of git remote command is, so basically this is used to link your local working directory to your repository. Okay, so the command will be git remote add origin. So I'm saying that git add my remote origin, that is my repo, and for example I can give the URL of my repo as github.com/ I have a repo by this name, git commands.git. Okay, so here I'm telling git to add my remote origin, that is my remote repository, and I'll give the URL. So it will add my remote repository URL to my local git working in the my current working directory. So guys, I hope everything is clear till this point. So let's move to the next set of commands we have. Okay, so the final commands we have are git push, git pull, and git stash. Okay, Now you have made all the changes in your local working directory and also done all the commits, and you want to push it to your remote branch. For example, remote branch or remote repository that we created just now. So you can upload all the changes in the current directory to your remote branch. For example, you want to upload it in the master branch in your remote repo. You use the command git push origin master. So as you can see here, we added the remote origin, that is this, and now we are telling it that push it to the origin, that is this, and in which branch, that is a master. So it will push all the local changes to my master branch. And suppose I don't want to push it in the master and I want to push it on any other branch on my repo, I'll simply use the command git push origin and then my branch name. For example, branch 1, I have in my remote repository, I have a master branch and a branch by the name branch 1. So I can push the changes on both of them branches separately by using these two commands, git push origin master or git push origin branch 1. Then we have a git pull. So it helps to pull and combine the changes from the remote to the local repo. Okay, so suppose I have some data on my local repo as well as on the remote. So I can use this command and it will pull the contents of the remote repo and combine them in my local branch. So I can use the command git pull and then the repo name or the repo URL in this format. It will be in the .git format. I can use that to pull the contents of that remote repo branch. And then finally we have a git stash. This is a very interesting command. So suppose you are working in one particular directory and due to some reason you need to move to some another branch, but you don't want to lose the changes that you have done till now in the current branch. So you want to save those changes temporarily at a place because you are working on it. So even the changes are not permanent that you can commit it, but you want to save it temporarily so that you can come back and work on them again. So this command is helpful for you, the git stash command. It is used to save the modified files temporarily. So suppose you are in a branch and you want to save the work you have done temporarily, you can use the command git stash save. So this will save your changes temporarily. You can check out to another branch, do the work and come back, and you want to see or you want to bring back the temporary changes in the working condition. You can simply use git stash pop. So this will pop up all the changes that you have saved. And suppose you want to only list or you want to only see the changes that have been stashed but not bring them back in the working condition, you can use a command git stash list. Right? So git stash is a useful command in case you are working parallelly on multiple branches. So you are working on one branch, do a stash save. It will save your data temporarily, go to another branch, complete your work, come back, do a git stash pop and work on that saved data again, or simply use git stash list to find the list of saved stashes you have in your branch. Right? So this was a syntax for all the useful commands that a developer should know. Right? It was really nice teaching this session, and I hope you were able to learn from this video, and you may watch our other related videos to learn more. I've pasted the link to my blog below. You can find more example of these commands in the below section. If you have any questions, feel free to ask those in the comment section and subscribe to our channel to get the latest update. So again, thank you for watching and happy learning with JanBask training. Thank you.
JanBask training. Learn and grow.